Hi, and welcome again to another edition of Market Analysis for today, November 1st of 2024, TGIF. I'm Giovanni Benecourt, and this is a recording previous to the U.S. Open. All right, so what a day we had yesterday. What a way to close out the month. The indices obviously fell through all the way down to 20,000, almost 20,000 round number. And it has rebounded from it today. Well, therefore, we need to obviously update our levels of support and resistance for today. We have obviously yesterday completely broken both levels. So the second level I'm going to use is going to be 19,700. And the first one is going to be this volume cluster from the past, right below that 20,000 marker. It hits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candles. So that's a pretty good level of a previous support that we can use. So let's use that for today. Today we're going to be having that unemployment rate for the U.S. Is expected to come in at 4.1%. And let's see what would happen in that regards. As far as resistance goes, let's use initially a very low resistance, 20,200. I don't speculate much movement to the upside. And then let's just use that 20-day moving average, the medium of the bond year band, as our second level of resistance for the NASDAQ. So we did open with a gap up above the 50-day moving average and the lower Bollinger Band. So this could be a reversal. I mean, obviously the old Magnificent Seven has already reported. The only one that missed earnings expectation was Tesla. So let's see if the momentum will, take it towards that level of 20,200 and close out for the day, for the week, and start the month in that perspective. As far as the S&P goes, also we have broken both levels of support that we have placed on there. So let's just use 5640 as our second level, and then our first level. Let's just use 5690 as our first level of support for that S&P. Let's lower our level of resistance to 5,800. Strong psychological number, obviously. It's going to be being used. And right above that, the 20-day moving average for our second level of resistance, right around there. Okay, so again, cautiously buying, but hey, this could also just turn around and dip south for us. So we are here also for the Dow. The Dow 41,500 as our second level, and let's just use the lower volume. Well, let's just use 41,800 as our second. Then our level of resistance, let's use yesterday's high and that 20-day moving average for the Dow. Cautiously buying also. You could probably use that momentum to the upside. Then let's use the Russell 2180 support and the 20-day moving average as our resistance. So again, being cautiously bullish on the indices. They could just turn around and just drop. All right, so we are making higher highs, higher lows in crude oil. So this is perfectly a good scenario. Obviously, uptrend. We are on there. So $74 long-term resistance. I doubt that we get there today. And as our first resistance, we're going to use a 50-day moving average as our first level of resistance for crude oil. That has been obviously on a lot of people's minds, wondering what's going to happen with the scenario in the Middle East. But hey, right around the corner is an election in the United States, so let's keep that in mind. All right, so as far as support goes, $70 will be just jumping at us because we have been there before. So let's just use that as a first level of support for crude oil. And our second level of support, let's just use 68. I mean, we could use 69, but round number, let's give some of that support. We are in a upward trajectory, so being bullish. Nat Gas is the one that keeps on fluctuating to the downside. So let's just use this low here, previous low, and 220 as our first level of support for Nat Gas. Resistance is going to be used the 50-day moving average as a first level of resistance, and then we'll use this double top right here as our second level of resistance for Nat Gas. But yeah, we're pushing lower, so perhaps we'll fluctuate past the first target and then towards the 200-day moving average and see if it finds that support around that level. Gold, okay, well, so gold yesterday did a sell-off. I mean, come on, you couldn't really. Gold has been moving higher, making higher highs, all-time highs, new all-time highs, time after time. So it was expected. Obviously a correction. Taking money off the table, closing out the month and repositioning itself. And this is a good correction. I see a good correction. So the first level of support or the second level of support is going to be this level right here that was previously the bottom. And then let's just use yesterday's low as our first level of support for gold. But we are looking to move higher. Oops, this channel is already done. It's broken. So let's just leave. I'm gonna use yesterday's 2780 rather that. It's 2780 is what I'm gonna be using as my level of resistance for gold and the upper Bollinger Band for the second one. So yeah, buying gold. Silver seems to be also, yesterday had that momentum to the downside, so let's just use 32 as our probable level of support and then use $34 as our resistance and being cautiously bullish with them. With copper, this is very abnormal. It's just bouncing off that 50-day moving average. So let's see when will it break out of there. Will to the upside, to the downside. Bitcoin, it fluctuated below our second level of support. So let's bring that puppy down to 67,000, right? And then our first level of support is going to be that 20-day moving average that we have here. So, all right, so we have that second, first resistance. We're going to be using the top Bollinger Band as a first level of resistance, right? And then 74,000 as our second level of resistance. So we use that. There we are. 72, 94. A bullish with Bitcoin. All right, so the currencies are trending higher. So let's use that 50-day moving average as our possible level of resistance. And then let's just use this 109 as our first level of resistance. Support is going to be, the first level is going to be 108 and change, almost 300. And then I'm going to use that lower Bollinger Band. So resistance 2, resistance 1, first level of support, second level of support. All right, now let's take a look at pound. The pound is pounding away. Is it getting pounded? Well, let's just leave the same levels of support that we have. Let's bring down our level of resistance. 130 is going to be the first level for the pound, and then use the 50-day moving average as our second. So moving higher, being bullish, and the dollar index is going to receive some volatility today. 200-day moving average right sitting below it, giving it that support. 105 continues to be that level of resistance for it. Let's see what will happen. Have a nice weekend, and I will see you next week.